Can I see you?
No, it won't. Just keep saying you've stopped it.
Oh, wait.
Turn my video on.
More. Wait. Why can't I do that? Make host. Change host. Oh God. We're now, it's streaming on YouTube.
There I am.
Oh, I can see you as well.
You now, and so can all of YouTube.
Can they? Because I don't know if I just switched it off because I was panicking. Live on YouTube. Let's have a look on YouTube. Yeah, it's got a button on the webinar thing that says go live on YouTube or go live on Facebook. And
why not?
And so here we are. But I've not put All right, how are you?
Yeah, I'm so tired today.
Are you? Sorry.
I feel like
how was last night?
Yeah, it's beautiful. It's really nice. Like really, really lovely. Just like, yeah, it was nice. Like getting everyone together, and I had some like really nice messages after.
So what did you do? Tell us through it, bearing in mind we're live on YouTube.
Oh yeah, no. It's just what did I do? I just kind of like introduced the book, said a little bit about it, and then guided everyone through an activation. So it was like calling in the energy of the moon and setting intentions and giving space for people to just soak up some healing energy from the moon. And then we did like a blessing for the book, so everybody sent like love and abundance and healing energy like into like to the book, and then through the book to whoever was going to read it. And it could be like themselves, it could have been themselves if like they wanted it, or to someone else that they knew that was going to read it, or to like a stranger. So yeah, everyone felt like we all sent energy through the book. So yeah, it's really lovely. Like my friend did it with her little boy, which is really cute.
He's gonna go to school and they're gonna be like, "You're mad."
He's not at school, so
right, little, really little.
Yeah, he is little. Oh, he's homeschooled as well.
Is he? That's cool.
Yeah. He's 4, no 5. He's so sweet, but he's got a little crush on me. Apparently he's like, can we send her more hearts? Can she see me? Does she know I'm here?
I feel his pain. I feel his pain.
Hello. Pay me attention. Can you see me?
Right. I need to get your chart. I wasn't ready for to just go straight away on YouTube. I was just experimenting. So yeah, just to clarify, I've bought the webinar thing.
Yeah.
And it's got this thing where you can just go live on YouTube or live on Facebook, obviously not Instagram. And this probably, oh, I can do my different views. Yes, there we go. That's what I want, isn't it?
I don't know.
Oh, you can't see. I've made it so we're in a row.
Okay, so we're next to each other.
Oh, but what would I want if I upload this onto IGTV?
Huh?
Because I was going to upload onto IGTV.
Right. Oh, did you just do speak at gallery view? So
yeah.
No one can see us. Yeah, I don't know how it records on.
Well, we'll see, or I'll just get the audio.
Yeah, and like even normally on like the videos that I've been doing for another phase, it just, so when we talk, so it will show you when you're talking, and then when I'm talking, it will show me.
Oh, right.
And then it'll just swap back and forth as we're talking.
Okay, I'll leave it on speaker view then. Okay, cool. Right, let's start so I can edit from here. So, tell us who you are.
I am Tamara, also known as Full Sister, and I am I guess like, I don't know, I'm trying to shorten it down because it's so long, like crystal healer, tarot reader, author, Reiki master. So modern mystic, spiritual advisor.
It's quite good to have that long list, isn't it?
Do you think? I think because I've been saying it for so long, I'm bored of being like, I do this and I do this. You know, like I want to just something a bit more snappy.
I know, but I heard Chris Evans on the radio this morning,
Mm.
and he had somebody on, and he was like, he had Rebecca Dennis.
Oh yeah, breathwork, yeah.
And he was like, she's done this, like and the list is actually quite good when you're hearing it for the first time. It just gets boring saying it, doesn't it?
Yeah, and I guess that's the thing, when you're saying all those things, it's easier for people that are new to all of this to understand it. But when I say modern mystic or spiritual advisor, people are like, what does that mean? But if I say tarot crystals, people are easiest, they get it a bit.
They get it. What time are you born, please? Your new time?
Let me find out on my phone. I think it was like 7:59
PM.
Yeah, something like that. Hang on a minute.
Yeah, gotcha.
Yeah, 7:50.
Okay, 7:50.
Or 50. I don't know. Yeah, 7:50, 7:59.
With your new rectified time, I really do think you're rising Libra.
Yeah,
I think that makes a lot of sense. A lot of sense. Okay, cool.
In what way?
I think because everything you do is so beautiful and you're so nice. And I think, when I first met you and you told me you're rising Scorpio, I was like, okay, like I can get on board with that because she's a mystic and got loads of, depth, and you did your shamanic training. But then like you're just always really nice, and then spending time with you make everything easy. Well, whatever you want to do you want to go for a drink? You're really like that, and you're really kind of, you don't have that bite of somebody who's rising Scorpio, because eventually that would have emerged by now. And you've got other things. You've still got Saturn and Pluto in Scorpio and Mars in Scorpio. So it's not like it's not there. But at least on a surface level, I would say you're a peacekeeper.
Yeah, I think that.
More than a like shut you down, controlling thing. And so wait, how did you go from hairdresser to the, and also the hairdressing is very rising Libra, to this?
So I had always been into like spirituality, and I feel like I said spirituality really weirdly then. I probably didn't. But I've always been into all this kind of stuff since I was a child, and into crystals when I was like 8, and then as a teenager I got into tarot. I used to go to different workshops, but back then I was like very much in the spiritual closet. It wasn't really the done thing. People didn't talk about it, or they thought it was a bit woo-woo. So I kept it completely on the down low, and it was something I just like come back to time and time again, especially when I was going through like a hard time. And then I was going through my Saturn return, and which we talked about in my podcast as well at that time. But I was going through my Saturn return. It's funny, isn't it? It's my turn to talk now.
Yeah, it's nice. It's really nice. I like interviewing. Like, it's on you, mate.
Yeah. But yeah, so I was going through that, and I just had like a long, like ongoing, like depression and anxiety and a long-term eating disorder. And I just got to 28, and I'd broken up with this guy. I had a really bad, the breakup wasn't bad in itself, but I'd taken it really badly. And because I think it was one of those ones where I knew it wasn't right, and I ignored my intuition, and really projected what I wanted it to be, despite how that person was being and what they were, and all of that. And then we broke up, or he broke up with me and just ghosted me. And it just triggered all my abandonment issues, but also just that infuriation of like, you've convinced me that this was a thing. I thought this was happening. Like, I've gone against my intuition. And it was just, so it was just all of that, but a really powerful awakening of not ignoring my intuition again in that same way. And also, why was I putting myself in these situations? Because similar things had happened before, but this one really hit me, because I think it was just like that the straw that broke the camel's back. And then was going through my Saturn return, and just kind of really just had this moment where I was just like, I am the common denominator. All of these things that are happening, there's something to do with me that's attracting these situations. There's something going on there. And why I'm staying in these situations. There's something going on. And then I just kind of really opened up to my healing journey, went to the doctor, started having therapy, and for me, with the first response from the doctor, because I think it took me so much to get there, to go to the doctor and admit that I was just like in such a rock bottom, and like they wanted me to go on antidepressants, and I know that antidepressants can be really good for some people, but for me it just wasn't an option. But when I said like I didn't want to do that, the doctor's response was like, well, if you don't want to help yourself, I can't help you.
Ooh.
But that, I'm so grateful that she said that, because it just lit this fire for me. It's like, well, I'm just going to do things, I'm going to just lean into the things that I've always wanted to do, because this is clearly not the way for me. And then I just dived in, and then went to Burning Man, thought I was going to have my massive spiritual awakening there. Didn't. And then came back, had a psychic reading. I was talking about saying like, I want to get my chakras rebalanced and everything. And then she's like, no, you're meant to be doing this. I was like, what? Like, I'd always been skeptical of psychic. Like, I'd always gone for readings out of curiosity, and like I said, done all these other things. But I guess you hear so many people say what they're just reading you.
Yeah.
Just, like they're reading your body language, they're getting the answers. And like I've been for some readings where they do just like, they're just pulling
scrabbling.
There are people that do that, and I get that. But then when I started going to these psychic development circles, I was just knowing this stuff about people that I couldn't have known. And it just kind of freaked me out in the best way, because I was like, oh my gosh, like how can I know what that person's house looks like? I've never been there. I've never met this person before. Like, how can I know that they've got however many brothers and sisters or whatever? And it just kind of, it just fascinated me. And then I guess the Scorpio obsession for me was just dived straight into all of it. And then ended up going to Bali, being apprenticed to a shaman there, and like learn Reiki, and just slowly but surely just came out of the spiritual closet more and more, just sharing what I was doing. And
and when you say like I know we've covered this, but I just find it so interesting that you knew how many siblings people had. Like when you knew, were you seeing, hearing all of them?
So at that time, I think I was like, I think when I was doing it at that time, it was like just seeing like outlines of like, when you're, so for me earlier on, I was more clairvoyant. So my main thing would be seeing animals as representations of something. So I remember being one of the first one actually, and I was like doing a reading for this lady, and I was like, I can just see this lion, like this lioness, like she's on her own, like she's like, and I was like, why am I seeing this lion? She's like, that's my mum, she's a Leo, and she feels really lonely at the moment. So
just translate the pictures. And that's your Venus and Pisces. All the psychics that I've seen or spoken to, people who have psychic skills tend to have planets in Pisces. I always get confused about you having planets in Pisces, so because I swear when we did this last time, I didn't find any Pisces. I was upset about it. But you do. But you do. Okay, so how the top 3 reasons this work has changed your life?
Top 3 reasons.
Well, you don't have to give me 3, but
I don't know, but what do you mean by reasons?
So,
like, or ways it's
definitions. Like how has this changed your life?
Okay, so 3 ways that this has changed my life. It's helped me learn to say no.
Yes.
And have boundaries. It's helped me to trust my intuition, and in from there be more confident. And it's guided me to live a life that's like way beyond my dreams, like that I never imagined. Like me back then, 28, at this like rock bottom, never would I have imagined that I am where I am now, like in the situation, like with like, I mean, I've always had amazing friends, but like even more amazing friends, that I feel really loved. I don't know if it's because the book's coming out today, and I've just had like my main ceremony, but I do genuinely feel really loved, and I am able to receive that love. Whereas before, I just didn't think I was worthy of it and didn't believe that it was really there. Whereas now, I just do.
Nice.
Yeah.
5th house planets, perhaps. All the love. And so with that, and doing what you do and loving what you do, how what is it that you love giving back to people? Like, what's the bit of advice? Is there one particular sentence that when it comes up, you're like,
Clarity.
I see you, I feel you, I get you, I know I can help you.
Yeah, I think it's that clarity that I give people. That is, whether it's through an experience, through a moon ceremony, or through a tarot reading or a healing session, it's just this like either holding space or creating space for people to find that themselves. Or when I'm doing a reading, it's just seeing things play out so that I can just make their life a little bit easier, because when they have that clarity and that awareness, that's when they can do things differently. And I think so often we overcomplicate things or feel overwhelmed because what we want feels so big. And I think I've just got a way of just kind of like sifting out the bullshit, sifting out the excuses, the bullshit, and really kind of getting to the reason of like what is holding them back, to then give them tools and practices or suggestions to really step out of that old pattern, to do things differently, to open up to what they want to be doing.
Mega. And so do you have like a big goal of what you want to achieve, or are you just kind of flowing?
Flowing.
Yeah, I know.
Apart from
Everyone is.
Apart from flowing, I would flow into the sea. I'd like to like move to the move to the sea, or have a place by the sea. But that's my only real goal.
I want to go to the sea next week. Okay, so bring it back to your chart. Yeah, it's what it kind of started with, that talking about how you live out your Libra, and everything you do is very beautiful, very artistic. And again, what was quite interesting a minute ago when you said you needed help saying no, that is like rising Libra's number one weakness, in not being able to say no, which doesn't make sense for an Aries, because Aries is generally pretty fine, but it's because you were born at sunset. So instead of you being born at sunrise and being all like, you know, easy peasy, it's all about me, you're born at sunset, so it's the ego was setting, it's all about everybody else all the time. So yeah, you will have needed help to bring that into balance. Do you have any questions about your chart?
I don't know.
What about your life path number? How did you feel finding out you're an 8?
Yeah, I think I like 8, because I just know, I feel like the word, as I'm just thinking about it, it's like just power. Yeah. And like just that sense of personal power and making things happen. And I think that's a big thing for us, especially as women, to be connecting with our power and knowing that like our potential and what we can be doing, and doing things on our terms.
Yeah, you're good at that.
What do you mean?
So I always message you when I'm having a crisis, because you go back to that clarity, and you stay in that vibration of knowing what you're worth and not letting people take you for a ride. And you know that people can tempt us. So this is good exposure for you, and this will be this, and this will be that. And I message you because I know that you're going to come back with no, like value your time. And you stay in that energy, and it's really helpful. Like when you get like because it can be easy to be pulled off, and it's really helpful for doing what you do as well. And I think elevating the work, because it's other people's perceptions all the time. And again, you're rising Libra, you're born at sunset, we're both born at sunset. So I don't think many brands get their accountants or lawyers to do a trial 3 months.
Yeah. You could potentially like get some work if you do these things, like and you're like, would you do that?
Yeah, it's not the one. So other transits you've got coming up, we spoke about this on the phone. It's your Jupiter return. You had your Jupiter return, and and that's Jupiter rules publishing. So your books come out, and everything that will come from that, and riding that wave, because your Jupiter return, 2008. You told me this the other day. Was that when you were in Ibiza?
2008. Yeah, I think it was. Yeah.
Living your best life by the sea. And what else have you got coming up? Oh, Mars is on your Mercury. That's interesting. So there could be a lot, or you're doing lots and lots of communications and putting lots of energy into your communications at the minute. And,
Mm.
it's amazing that you're using that in your work, because if you weren't basically doing interviews and doing the podcast, then Fang would be getting it in the neck. Is he getting it in the neck anyway?
No, he hasn't. He's I feel like
too busy.
Yeah, I think I do feel for it. Like I'm so lucky because he is so chill. Like that's the chill is frustrating sometimes, but at the moment it is really helpful. Like he's just like, yeah, just get on with it.
Do you think?
Yeah.
So when it comes to next year and plans going forward, because I know you had your space this year.
Yeah.
And then obviously COVID, and you've not been going into London. And there's this kind of interplay all the time of wanting your space and wanting to like have your thing and build, but also your needs as somebody who has the moon in Aquarius, who loves freedom and, expansion and connecting with people, and basically kind of loves the internet and that and techie vibe. What are you thinking now?
So I'm thinking, part of me is like, what I'm so curious, like what is in my chart on this. But I think because to be honest, I haven't thought about it. It's kind of there. I've still got it until the end of November, and just with lockdown easing, I just wanted to make sure that when I open it, it's in the best way possible. And I knew that I had the book launch coming up, so I was like, I'm not even gonna
think about
pile that on my plate. I'm not even gonna think about that until the book's out, and then like go from there, rather than just do it for the sake of it. So I think I'm gonna keep it until the end of November, and then I'll let it go, because I'm loving, like you said, that freedom and not have it like, it's a huge overhead. It's a really big overhead.
Coming to London, like,
yeah, and energetically it's a lot, but when I'm there, I love it. I love that space. Like I love having that space for people to come to, that is, because it's just mine and there's no one else coming and going, and it feels like a real sanctuary. There's something, like really like magic about it there. It's so different to before, when I've like done readings in other places or hired rooms. There's always something else going on, but because this space is just dedicated to healing, that there's something magical there. But I think I'm just gonna see how it goes. But I really feel like it is just, I've tried it, let it like open it up, do a few days before I close it, and then at the end of the thing, and then open up to doing other things, like, and doing more online, because then I can help more people.
And from home.
Well,
from anywhere. Because there's basically a massive influx of planets into Aquarius in January and February, and it's all going to eventually land on your moon. And so that feeling of you being able to shine, because your moon's in the 5th potentially, and be you, but online, in Bali, in wherever. There is a square from Mars early next year, which should not be overlooked. So, when people are talking about, I think people have calmed down on that, actually, because astrologers, when I say people, I mean other astrologers, were talking a lot about how when all these Capricorn planets move into Aquarius, it's going to be great. Mars in Taurus is going to be square those planets. But that is a very constructive energy also. But I think for you, it's like, see you bye, let's make some money online. I think,
What's the 5th house again? Remind me.
The 5th house is like Leo, Chanel number 5. Right. She was a Leo. That's why she called it number 5. It's that, look at me, I'm the queen, I've got my leopard print on. That's you. Okay. So, challenging transits in the past. So you had an eating disorder, you mentioned.
Yeah.
And you see you've got Mars square the moon, which is interesting, natally. So your moon is like 27 Aquarius and Mars is 27 Scorpio on my south node. There we go. Didn't know that. I hadn't clocked that. Mean? I tend to attract a lot of people normally ex-boyfriends, who have planets at 27 Scorpio. To probably get me, I don't know why. I mean, what's the lesson there? To just act, because I've got an intercepted Taurus Scorpio, it's not easy for me to access it. So other people come in and then they kind of poke me, and that's probably why I defer to you sometimes, where I'm like, answer this question for me, because you can access part of me that I can't access all that well.
Yeah.
And but Mars square the moon. So the moon is oh, okay, yeah, but the moon or the body and what we eat, and and then with Mars square to it, it can so when you're angry or when you are feeling inflamed, there could be this adverse. So your eating disorder was bulimia, was it?
Yeah.
Which would be more of the Mars type, as opposed to if it was a Saturn aspect, it would be denial. Whereas Mars is going to be more rough with yourself, and this kind of, the energy of it, like fire, like, heat up, cool down. That kind of contrast of the moon in Aquarius being poked by these emotions of Scorpio. And then, will you talk?
I don't know what to say.
Okay, good. No, that's fine. I'm just like, I'm talking too much. But I find, the astrology of eating disorders, I'm not an expert in at all, but there tends to be a challenging aspect to the moon when it's a thing. And then what's really interesting for you is that how you've then become this like master of the moon, and how you have harnessed all of this overwhelming energy to put it into something constructive, to understanding your own needs, which are, I don't know how you would describe that, and you don't have to, but at least being online, feeling loved and seen, fifth house moon, feeling like you can share with lots of people, moon in Aquarius, friends. I always had good friends. Now I've got loads more friends, like that expansion of Aquarius energy that was, the moon in Aquarius can be confusing anyway, I guess. What do you have thoughts on that?
What, it confusing in what way?
In that the moon is like needy, clingy, crying. The moon in Cancer, for instance, like the moon, when she's being her most moony, is like emotional and cuddly and free-flowing emotions, whereas the moon in Aquarius is like she's an enigma.
I guess what I find fascinating about my moon sign is that my mum is an Aquarius. And Fang is an Aquarius, so there's obviously something in that the way that they are, obviously my mum, that, like we've talked about this before, like our parents teaching us what love is, and there being that reflection, and like how, I guess that's how I am being attracted to my boyfriend who's Aquarius, because that's what my natal moon's, that there's something in that, but yeah, I don't know, because I think that's with my Ariesness, it makes me really passionate and fiery and like want all of that excitement. But then also I'm like, I hate people being clingy. Like, even if people follow me up too much on messages, if I haven't got back to them, it's just like, you're definitely not getting a reply now. Do you know what I mean? Like, it's just like, if they'd messaged me and just left me, I'd get back to them. But there's something in it when people message me again, it's like, I've seen it, there's a reason why I haven't got back to you. So yeah, I do get back to most people, but there is something that triggers me. Like, I really don't like it when people are too clingy or too needy of me.
Yeah. Very Aquarius. My light keeps switching.
But also I like supporting other people. I like being there, but for me, it's how I support people is giving them space to check in with their own answers, and really feel into it. It's not like I haven't got all the answers. Like, I'm just here as the mirror for you. Like, I'm here to help you see this, but this isn't me.
And also, I think with needy people sometimes, the best thing you can do is give them a hard boundary.
Yeah.
Because, they're obviously doing this in all their relationships, and it's very hard.
Yeah.
Like, you don't want to, I'm quite Aquarian as well. And so, yeah, when people go into that mode, and particularly if it's an issue they're raising with you, it's, you know, there's a responsibility to be like, okay, I'm not going to mend this. I'm just going to be really, really super extra clear that this isn't. And I see, I'm really fascinated with that work, actually, and I'm going down a rabbit hole with the relationship astrology and like certain numbers and certain astrological archetypes that just push boundaries all the time, and how interesting that is, how it bleeds into all our relationships. But I've not finished. I'm nearly there, but there's something I've not cottoned on to yet. So,
and just I feel like it's just tucked away, like right next to you.
Yeah, like something staring me in the face.
Yeah.
About some of these ideas about how, because there's a lot of it online, like Mark Groves, Create the Love, and there's I'm reading all these manifestos and, you know, other people's Instagrams, all these relationship experts, and it's a kind of one size fits all approach. Yes and no. Do you know what I mean? Like, this is how a relationship should be, and this is how you should handle this, and this is how you should, and it's all really sound advice. But going back to kind of astrological numerology, tarot archetypes, we're all a different archetype. And so I find that really interesting.
Yeah.
And that we're all giving advice from our own
experience. Because that's what you do. Because I guess that whether it's lived experience and we've seen how that's changed, but I don't know, I find relationships so confusing. Really so confusing. And like you said, like you see like relationship coaches and they're like, this is how like you're supposed to talk to each other, and but a lot of couples, like a lot of people aren't in that space, you know,
like most.
So it's quite tricky to kind of cut, and then you're like, what's not? It's like, yeah, that's the ideal, like having these conscious conversations and doing these things. But a lot of guys, like I spoke to my boyfriend a little while ago, and she's like, why don't we have some like couples therapy? He's like, no way. He's like, we might as well break up. It's like, if you've got to do that, we might as well break up. Like, if you think that. And I was like, surely that's the opposite. If we do that, like, so that we stay together. And I think that's the thing. The tricky thing was a lot of people read these ideal situations.
Yeah.
And like you said, it's this one size fits all, but actually, like you were saying with the archetypes and the different things, it's like getting to know that who is that person that you're with. And for me, understanding moon signs really helps. It's like, okay, what is that person's moon sign? Like, how do they express up? What do they need to feel safe, secure? What is mine? What do I need? Again, like we've mentioned before, like what is a projection?
Yeah.
And how much am I expecting them to give me what I need when actually I could just give it to myself like that?
Yeah.
And take the pressure off the relationship and give them space to be themselves. And when we do that, they actually show up the way that we want them to.
Yeah, when often just take the focus off, get busy, and it's like, oh, everything fixes itself. But there's two things that I find really narcissism, like major word at the minute, and you know that it's like, is every, you know, I've been speaking to everyone when when I'm researching something, I'm like asking everyone I meet. And do you have any thoughts on that, actually, before I start talking about it?
We were talking about it the other day, or weren't we, over WhatsApp? WhatsApp voice messages.
Oh, yes.
Going backwards and forwards about it. I just think, like, because after you'd sent me those links and I was like reading up about it and just thinking like narcissism, like the term, but I think in so many ways, like everybody's, especially nowadays, like everybody's so much more narcissistic, like with social media, the way they want to be seen, they want to be, like, which isn't a bad thing, used in the right way, like if it's coming from a good intention.
But it's everywhere.
Yeah, it's everywhere. So I think it's not like, I think most people are narcissistic in some ways, even people that are complete do-gooders.
Yeah,
they are doing it because they're getting some kick.
It's like that Friends episode where Phoebe's like, there's no such thing as doing a good deed, and she let the bee sting her so that he'd look good in front of all his friends, and then they were like, the bee's gonna die, and she's like, oh god. And then she found some money and she donated it, and then Joey got the call and she was happy that Joey got on the TV. She's like, there's no way to do, you know, there's always hopefully good feelings, and that's good, but that's kind of a separate topic to narcissism. But yeah, a lot of people that I'm speaking to are saying narcissism is everywhere. Social media has turned us all into narcissists. Like when we first got social media and I saw friends being on holiday and posting a picture of their holiday whilst they're on holiday, I was like, that's disgusting.
What was that? Say it again.
I was on the first time I saw somebody post a picture of their holiday whilst they were on holiday.
Okay.
you know, because you only did your holiday pictures when you got home.
Yeah.
To be there and to be like, look where I am. I was like, oh, gross. Like, who would do that? Now I'm like, I'm at the airport.
Just back in.
Look at me. Look at me. This has no relevance at all to your life. It's just you looking at me.
Russell Brand, ages ago on his Under the Skin podcast, he did a podcast episode about narcissism with someone. I can't remember who it was. I think maybe someone that's written a book about narcissism. Might have that wrong, but it's a conversation. And they were just one of the things that was interesting. They were talking about how in the Western world we're all about selfies, but in the East, in like Asia, they're all group selfies.
Okay. Yeah.
Like a lot of them.
Interesting.
But this is quite a while ago, so it might be different now.
Before the selfie stick.
Yeah, but it's these different cultures that see how they want to be viewed. We want to be viewed as ourselves, but other cultures view themselves as part of the community.
Part of a group.
They are like interconnected.
Healthier, I guess.
Yeah, totally.
But what I'm thinking is some of this relationship stuff that they're putting out there is a little bit flip side narcissistic, being like, you shouldn't accept less than this, whereas the reality is something much more unfiltered and messy and human, as opposed to this like this thing that they're putting out. But it's all very interesting, but I do wonder if it's making people more nuts as well, in that, you know, you and Fang probably have got very healthy, you know, without but you're thinking it should be like this, it should be like that, whereas actually
you know. But I asked my friends like, is this like honestly, like, because I do question, I'm like, is this how relationships should, because we're seeing all the time like you should have this
and same interests or whatever, and do everything together, and
path, and it's confusing. And like I ask a lot of my friends, and I'm like, you know, like, and I know that like my partners argue, it's like, do you ever want to leave them? Like, and they're like, yeah, like, and like, me and my friends were like laughing about it, because we were like, yeah, like sometimes we daydream just about being single and like what we do, and then we were laughing because we know that our boyfriends would never think like that. They'd be hurt if they knew that that's the way that we think. But I realize that I have a couple of days, like when I'm during my period, where I'm like literally thinking like, right, I might move. How am I gonna I'm gonna move out with the cat and get our own place, like, and then I come on my period and it clears, and I'm like, oh, all right,
fine again.
it happens. It's these days, so I've noticed that it's a pattern. And not to act then and just ride it out and say, like, if it was a whole month of me feeling like that, that's very different. But just that short
few days
where I'm like, you are just infuriating. And then, like you said, like all of these things that we see online are like, shouldn't settle. Like, boyfriend's lovely. Like, he, you know, like he's loyal. Like he's caring. Like he shows up in his own way. But he would never hurt me. Like he'd never like do me wrong. Sounds so like
it's like a song.
Yeah, all these lines that I was like just programmed of like what a good guy should be like.
No, but it just says basic things.
But anyway, it's just but I think that's the thing. It's like, what are the green flags? And I think sometimes like with relationships,
green flags.
The green flags. We're so focused on the red flags.
Oh, nice.
But I saw Gina Martin, she shared it recently, and I was like, yeah, like we don't look at the green flags of like what is good, how is that person showing up for us. And I think it is when we're looking out for it, like, so speak to my like clients and like friends that are like single and wanting to call in relationships, and again, such a minefield because of like manifestation of what they should be asking for. And I'm always like, come back to, how do you want to feel with that person? Because also I realized, like, because this is me reflecting on this a lot, like with my relationship, like at the beginning, because it's so easy, like I'll have friends that will get into new relationships and, oh my god, we're so in love, like he's so perfect, and I'm like, what am I like, what's going on? But I'm like, hang on a minute, I felt like that, but we're just at a very different phase of intimacy now. We've, you know, like we've gone through so much, and I think that's the thing, like that person will be what you want often at the beginning when you're manifesting, but then they're a person, who is it JT, this guy on Instagram, he does these like little comedy sketches on Instagram, and he's like, when you manifest your relationship that you want, and he's like, yeah, can you just either just be the person that I want you to be without your own like issues? Because like, yeah, that's not what I was asking for, like you having your own problems and needs.
And that's it. That's the whole narcissistic bit.
Yeah.
It's like, give people a break, man. But I'm watering it down. But yeah, I'm exploring it, and I'm definitely exploring it in respect to different people's identities, like your numbers and your astrology. It's like live and let live. It's about how can we balance within that. And because as well, I don't know if you have this, but because I always know someone's chart, I could not look for a day or two, but even if I don't look at someone's chart, I've got an idea of what's going on. Like I can feel the archetypes come through. So and because I'm like a sunset person like you, I'm born to respond to people. So I'm really, really responsive, and I immediately start adapting because that's kind of my gift. And similar to yours, as much as it can be a problem and you have to say no and you have to have boundaries. And so then it's really hard to be objective about things. And if that's your style of relating, it's like, how can you ever unlearn to be completely like that? It's always going to be there. You're always going to be able to respond to people, and you're always going to respond to people. So that, I think maybe that is where I'm at. And that is like, how can I just get a nice paragraph to articulate that? So if you have any insights, let me know. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. Like, what do you mean, a paragraph?
Just some things, like some nugget of wisdom based on the idea, like if you are somebody who's quite Venusian, Venus is your chart ruler, you're born at sunset, if you read people and are a natural peacekeeper, how do you not bend over backwards, and how do you stop yourself from responding to that person all the time?
I think it's just having that level of awareness, though, like learning. For me, because when I was having my therapy, it was mad because it was my final session and had the biggest breakthrough of the whole thing, and realized that my whole people pleasing thing had come from childhood, obviously, but this very vivid moment of like, and I took on that role, and not just within my family, but then it was that role of like people pleasing, like with my friendships, and trying to like feel like I fit in, and realizing, that's what I do, but that does not serve me, because I'm trying to do all of these things and they don't give a shit. Sometimes they give it, like, so if it's for the wrong person, they don't give a shit, they don't appreciate it. But also other people that really care about you, it doesn't matter. You don't need to bend over backwards, you don't need to do all of those things. So I think for me, realizing it's like, I don't need to do that. Like I don't, and having that awareness of a boundary, because I used to always bend over backwards for people, always just be like,
and now what, you're Aries.
You
took it back.
I really feel like there's this thing of just like, I'll do it, but it's like, it's one of those things.
And do people see you like that now, or are people just like, would you please just be compromising for once? Like, does it swing the other way for a while, or?
I think because I'm very clear on my boundaries, and when I'm working with people, I will like say in an email, I'll really outline what they can expect from me, so that there's no veering off. So I know what I'm doing and they know what they're going to get from me. I'm very like, this is something I've cultivated over the years. Like, for example, like doing like tarot readings at events. And before I'd be like, and get there, and you're like in a really noisy corner and people are queuing up, and everyone's reading, and you run out of time, and they're like, please, can we do like
one for us, for the staff?
Like one for us. Like we've been in that situation together, haven't we? The Ned. And so now when people ask me to do tarot readings at events, I'm like, this is how many I can do in this amount of time. I need to be somewhere quiet. This is my, really clear. So I'm really clear on what people can expect. So
and in your relationships as well, outside of work, same. I'll send you an email.
Like with my friends, I don't know. I don't think. Well, actually, it was really interesting considering I've only got Capricorn in my chart. A lot of my close friends have got a lot of Capricorn in their
Yeah,
chart.
well, it's your IC. If this time of birth is correct, you've got. Yeah. Anyway, go on.
Yeah. So a lot of my friends are like kind of like me. So they're chill. They're like, do what you know, like do what you want to do.
Yeah.
Like everyone's quite similar in that way. Relax. We all show up. We're always there for each other, but there's no pressure. And there's no one takes the piss. I just feel like we're all very generous people.
That's nice.
But we're all doing our own things as well.
Are you doing any more? Are you learning any new healing things at the minute?
I want to, but I haven't even. I kind of keep feeling called to doing it, but
I think that'll be coming up then.
Yes, it doesn't feel like a.
Maybe next year.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think you'll be doing more learning next year, or just more teaching.
Yeah, I'd like to do more teaching. I've got like an online course like up my sleeve to get that sorted once.
Oh, okay, that'll be next year then.
Yeah,
that will be next year. So, is there anything I wanted to ask you? Yeah, any other stuff in the past? You kind of mentioned it. And with the book, just tell us about the book.
So, my book, did it come through was it that
no
came through the door? Oh,
you're supposed to though, huh?
Yeah, you should have it at some point today, maybe this afternoon. So my new book is called Luna, and it's all about harnessing the power of the moon, and it's got a little bit like just a breakdown of the phases of the moon and how we can align with them and use them for kind of like little guides. I kind of like see the different phases of the moon as like traffic lights of like little signs of kind of like different ways to be at different times or different directions to take. There's like moon rituals and different practices, like moon rituals, but also everyday practices, and like a little bit about moon signs, like and how the different new moons and full moons are depending on the moon sign that they're in, and really like what it comes down to is the lunar is a guide to becoming best friends with the moon. So really using that as like a guide to, like as if you would do with your best friend, like just like we do, like WhatsApp messages and checking in and sharing what you're upset about and what you're excited about, and setting what you want to be doing, and using the moon as that best friend energy, rather than Siamese twins where you feel like you're stuck to the hip of the moon and you have to do everything because it's
okay
and doing, like I think that's thing sometimes, because I get messages from people about this. They're like,
what should I be doing?
Yeah, what should I be doing? Or like, oh, like I feel like this anxiety of like, oh, like I have, I've got to do something for everything. And it's like, no, like again, like with a best friend, like you let them, like they're there when you need them, and like they're ready to hang out when you want to. Whereas like the Siamese twin energy of like feeling like you've got to do everything, but then you're not actually living your life fully the way that you want to, because you're attached to something that's maybe,
How do you think life would be if everybody like got on board with living with the moon?
I think,
and and men as well.
I think trying to feel into that. I think that the pace would be a lot slower, but I think also the pace of life would be slower, but I think the word that's coming through is efficiency.
Yes.
Like is like what would be happening. So actually people are doing less but achieving more. And by achieving, I don't just mean like work goals and productivity and putting things out there, but also resting and doing the things that you love and recharging and like being out in nature, and real kind of just more balance in that sense. And I think with men opening up to that more
would be a revolution.
Like I think it would just be, I just feel like it would just take things to the next level. I think there are so many good things in some ways there are so many good things in the way, you know, like our modern lives, but bringing that like shamanic nature connection element into that and living in that way, I just feel like that could be
amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I think for me, working with the moon, you know, you learn yourself, don't you? You just apply it. But because I am so tired at the new moon, like my brain, it's just, and I had a client on Friday and I cancelled them, and I saw them yesterday. I was like, guys, sorry about that, but I was dead. And they were like, oh, don't worry about it. And then now I know for the next week I'm up and I'm on fire, and that's why it's efficiency, because I get so, you know, I'll just achieve so much, but then there's a few days where I'm like, who am I?
Yeah.
And why do I care about any of this?
Yeah.
And it's beautiful to be able to sink into that energy of like, I just don't care. Like my ambition has gone.
Yeah.
You know? I just want to sleep. I might watch a film, like leave me alone. So yeah, it's really powerful. I wish I ordered it so I could be like, I got your bag.
I'll show you.
Yeah.
Ta-da!
Yeah.
So,
I didn't want
I can't
to.
wait for you to read it.
I want you to sign it.
I'll sign it.
Yeah, I haven't signed my other one. Oh, I've got your other one. Have you got that one there?
Do you want to see it?
Yeah.
Oh, hang on a second. I'm back.
With that, let's check YouTube. Oh, that was quick.
So that's because of Kaya.
Yeah.
And Luna.
What's next?
Oh, I don't know. Some time off?
Some time off. And I think whatever you do next, because your Chiron is sitting on your sun, basically. And Chiron's a wounded healer. So it's going to be, already Luna fits into it, but something to do with your daily rituals, like daily routines. Nuggets of information on how to be efficient, perhaps. Anyway, we'll see whatever emerges from I think you might be teaching, but I think you're going to go and do something else.
I don't know what that is. I'll tell you if I did.
Yeah, I don't know what it could be either. Food stuff, Ayurveda, you into that?
No, I don't. I find it interesting, and
but
I love Jasmine I love Jasmine Hemsley's like East by West cookbook, but
that's as far as it goes.
Yeah, I think.
Oh, it's gone quiet.
Oh,
I think it's the planes. It sometimes does that. Okay, well, we'll see, won't we? We will see what happens next. Okay, right. Let's should we try and stop it?
Okay.
Is there anything else you want to say?
No. Thanks for having me. This has been fun.
Thank you. Thank you for coming. And so Aquarian.
I haven't gone anywhere. Thanks for coming. I'm like, I'm just at home.
Oh yeah, it's good, isn't it though?
Yeah.
Not having to go anywhere.
I know.
I've just got to work out how to download this now and put it on Instagrams.
Easy. It will download.
Yeah, it's all in the cloud. I've paid spanked 30 quid a month on cloud stuff, which I don't know if that's reasonable or not, but anyway. Okay, right.
I don't think there are any other options, are there?
No, and it's really nice to not have it going onto my computer.
Yeah.
And it's good for all the classes. Okay, right. Okay, so Tamara is Wolf Sister. You can find her at _Wolf Sister?
_Wolf Sister on Instagram, and my website is www.wolfsister.com.
Easy
Got
peasy.
like a little jingle then.
It's good. Have you got a jingle?
I've got a little I've got like a little 15-second track of music that I found that I spent hours looking for online, but I've got it now. I'll do.
Done. Okay, right, I gotta stop because we're rambling.
Okay.
Thanks, darling. That was great.
Bye.
I'll message you this out.
Okay.
Bye.
Bye.